Hello, hello, hello.
Are we unmuted?
We are unmuted.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Kelly from Australia. Amazing.
Hi, Vic. Hi, Luann.
So today I'm Jack. This is Tiff.
Who?
We are your hosts for today's Unstoppable Empath Live Show. If you know nothing about us, welcome. If this is the first time you're here, let us know. We always love to know if it's the first time. And just, don't get too upset because we're pretty wild and get a little sassy. Just hang in there. Just hang in there because we have a lot of fun. We are the owners of Thought Tracks Coaching and Healing, which is our life coaching and spiritual healing practice that we've had for going on 15 years. We are also the creators of Thrive, which is all about you, the empath, managing your energy, mastering your mindset, and expanding and developing your spiritual gifts. So that's a little bit.
That sounds so fancy.
We're also the hosts of the Unstoppable Empath podcast and the Unstoppable Empath Live Show. We love to bring help and support to you, the empath, so you can live a really great day, right? That you can have a great day today and tomorrow and the next day and the next and the next. So we're so glad that you're here. So glad that you're here. Give us a shout out. Oh, Jennifer is in Utah. We're in Utah as well. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome back to you.
Well, she knows we're in Utah.
I know. I was just like speaking out loud about that and telling other people that don't know where we are joining from. We live in Salt Lake City, Utah, here in the beautiful, beautiful mountains that we love very, very much. And we love this place.
Yeah, we really do. The mountains are covered with snow and they just look so mystical during this time of year.
Oh, Leona, I didn't realize that you're from Canada. I just didn't realize that. Very cool. Hello, Helen Morton. We're so glad you're here.
Who is from England?
Feruza is.
Oh, yeah, Feruza.
Yeah. So here we all are. We love to hear where you are from. That's always great for us because we can see this is really fun. Tiff and I just finished recording our podcast based on the same thing. Today's topic is all around healthy boundaries that set you free, right? And that is the purpose of setting those boundaries. We're going to have a little deep dive into that today. That's what we'll be discussing. Our podcast was awesome. Our new podcast episode always goes live on Tuesdays. So if you want to check out our podcast, it's the Unstoppable Empath podcast on iTunes and everywhere that you listen to your podcasts. That's where we will be as well. And
are we on Spotify?
Yeah, I believe we're on Spotify. I don't know if we're on Pandora, but we're on Google Play. We're on all the other podcast apps. So Unstoppable Empath with Tiff and Jack. Yeah.
So boundaries, we talk about boundaries all the time. We've taught a lot of classes on boundaries and we're going to keep doing it because repetition helps us get it in our mind. And it gets really easy to forget about how to set boundaries or even what they are as empaths because we're all about helping others. So we have to be really impeccable with our boundaries so that we feel well.
Yeah, and reminded often and have it normalized. That's why Tiff and I do talk a lot about setting boundaries and really giving you the tips and the tricks to make it a little easier. And like Tiff just said, reminding you why it's important.
I just had to set a boundary with Jack.
She did.
Because
and it was about this.
My treat bowl with my dumb chocolates. You're dropping my chocolate.
So she let me know that I was not allowed to eat this kind, but I am allowed to eat this kind. So this kind is caramel filled. This kind is milk chocolate.
And I'm like, could you not eat the other ones?
That's Tiff setting her boundaries.
That's a boundary.
Since we were talking all about boundaries, like Tiff, she's going to like lay it down. Tiff, you're really good at setting boundaries. You are very, very good at setting boundaries.
Oh, well, it's a lifetime of practice. That's for sure. It's not always easy to set boundaries.
Victoria said, "Oh my God, Mom, Victoria Rose is our daughter. And she's also the one that manages our Connected Empath Facebook group, which hopefully all of you are a member of our Connected Empath Facebook group because it is a high vibe, uplifting place to be as an empath." But Victoria, our daughter, just said, "Oh my God, Mom, when you bought those, I said, no touching the caramel filled. She knows you.
Victoria, is that true? Did I ever tell you don't eat the caramel ones?
Oh, mama and her caramel. So now you know. I mean, it's always exciting, isn't it, to know what's in the treat dish? And of course, this is not any treat dish. This is a pure crystal.
Oh, yes.
Crystal treat dish, because that's the way Tiff rolls.
Yeah, I have lots of crystal in my house.
Yes, beautiful.
I have a crystal fetish. I love it.
You know, and it's interesting when you drink wine out of a crystal glass versus glass. It's a different experience. It is. It's a different.
Yes,
and
you'll
you brought that to my
never,
world.
ever catch me drinking wine out of a crappy glass, let alone a solo cup. Never going to happen. Yeah, because the crystal, the vibration of the crystal with the vibration of the wine is a magical experience.
It is.
And I am not
It's
willing.
all about energy.
It's a boundary that I will not drink wine in a cheap
That
glass.
is a boundary you have.
I will not do it.
That is,
or I won't drink it.
It is one of your very true boundaries.
So we have crystal glasses everywhere.
We do. They're beautiful. They are really beautiful. It's always devastating when you break one. However,
yeah.
It gets a little tricky, but you know,
whatever.
Buy another one.
Yeah. Okay, so we do have to do our Rebel deck.
Okay, one of the things, if you're new, one of the things we do each week is Tiff pulls 3 cards out of the tarot deck called the Rebel deck. It's really a wild, fun deck. It's super naughty. It's just a great. You'll get it in just a minute. So pick your question. Now's the time to ask your question, and Tiff is going to pull 3 cards, and you will have an answer. It may be 1, 2, or 3 of those cards will be an answer for you. So come up with your question. Right now is the time to come up. You're doing the question again, okay?
Yeah, and here's the cover. Rebel deck. See, it has a unicorn with a slash through it. So this is not a unicorn deck. This is the Rebel deck.
What does it say? Tarot with attitude.
Yeah, tarot with attitude.
0 filter, 0 fucks, all fun.
Okay. I've got my question, because I'm going to ask my question. Then I'll let you know. My question is after, and then you can all let us know what card was yours. Okay? Okay, think deeply.
Everyone think of your questions.
About your questions. Okay, here we go. Ooh, there's one.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
There's the other one. And ooh. Okay. Oh, there's 2.
Oh boy, we have 4
We're doing
cards
4
today.
cards today.
Okay, here we go. So card number. Oh, Tiff, tell us your question. What was
How
your
can
question?
I best support Jack today?
Ooh, this is gonna be fun. Card number 1. Put the fucking phone down. Too much screen time is making you awkward and sad. Go talk to a live person. There's number 1. Number 2, take a fucking trip. Go see some shit. Do new things. Talk to people cooler than you. Number 3, shit is going down with your job. Reevaluate, change your perspective, or fucking quit. Wow, that's powerful. I wonder if that's for any of you. And the 4th card, stop obsessing. You are not the fucking center of the universe. Which one's yours, babe?
I think the first 2, put my fucking phone down. And
take a trip. Okay,
yeah.
So again, card 1, too much screen time is making you awkward and sad. Go talk to a live person. Put the phone down. 2, take a fucking trip. You said this one too.
Yeah.
Some yours. Go see some shit. Do new things. Talk to people cooler than you. I'd love to know how that will apply to me. Because your card was about me, right?
Yeah, it was.
3, shit is going down with your job. Reevaluate, change your perspective, or fucking quit. 4, stop obsessing. You're not the fucking center of the universe.
So I think put my phone down is about when we're together I'm just going to give you lots of attention and pet you.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Because I do look at my phone a lot because of our work. Also taking a trip, because we were just talking about that.
Yeah, we really were, like doing an Airbnb stay away for our anniversary that's coming up here pretty quick. So yeah, very cool. Okay, what are you guys? Let's see. Kelly Percival said her card was the last one. Feruza was the last one. Kelly Verstraete, the last one.
Oh, wow.
Someone said, well, Biden lasts 4 years. Shit's going down with your job? Could apply. Not sure. Sonia, hi, Sonia from Scotland. We're so glad you're here. Luann. Ooh, 1 and 2 was Luann. Kelly Percival. Is anyone having the video frozen? It's Wi-Fi wherever you are that will freeze your video.
Yep. And it's
So
Mercury retrograde. So hang in there.
Just
folks.
hang in there. 2 and 4, that was Alex. Someone was the last one. Stop obsessing. Okay, guys. There you go. There's the reading. It's always fun when 4 cards.
Yep. Every now and then 2 will jump out at the same time.
Goodness. Leona, 1, 3, and 4. Audrey, 1 and 4. Good job, you guys. Awesome. Okay, so let's jump right into healthy boundaries that set you free. We added the little end tag on when we were recording our podcast. That's what we titled it, Healthy Boundaries That Set You Free.
So I'd like to know from each of you, if you want to type it in, what is your definition of boundaries? Because everyone's going to have a different definition. And the reason that happens is that we all come from different places in the world, different conditioning, different absolutely everything. And we all have different definitions for every single word. So what is your definition of boundaries? The definition of boundaries that I will be sharing today is boundaries define what we will and will not do. Okay. Do you have a different definition?
No. It's really what I'm willing to do or not do.
Respect. Facebook user. I'm not sure who you are, but I'm reading your comment. Thank you. Respect. I'm guessing you're talking about that they respect you. Other people. Not allowing people to walk over me and treat me like crap. Good. Good. Anyone else? So boundaries is very, very... Hi, Sonia from Scotland.
And Kelly Verstraete said what you will and will not do or tolerate.
Right.
Alex, I have to live my life for myself and no one else. Have yet to apply this.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. You got this. Leona, my comfort zone.
Good.
Oh.
Good.
Nice.
It's interesting, right? To read other people's comments. We all come from a different place, so we're all going to have a different perception of things. Today, we're going to talk about why boundaries are so important. What?
I have a question that I would love to have you answer. Is setting boundaries easy for you? Yes or no? Yes, it's easy for me, or no, it's not easy for me.
Feruza, not to take shit.
Right? And you get to determine what shit means.
Is setting boundaries easy? No. We have a lot of honest people on this call.
No.
Yeah, setting boundaries
depends on who it's with.
Definitely going to make you feel a bit uncomfortable. Once you do it for a while and you get good at it, it gets easier. But there's always going to be a little level of discomfort when setting a strong boundary with someone.
Audrey said, letting someone know what you will or will not do. Sometimes this is a struggle as I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Yep.
Kelly Percival, better at setting boundaries. It's easier than it was before.
Good.
Someone else said, depends on who it's with. Victoria, it gets easier every time you set one. It's uncomfortable, but necessary. I love that.
True that.
It is uncomfortable, but necessary. Depends. Family is hard. Everyone else, no problem. Right? That can be so true.
Yeah.
I do not cross other people's boundaries. And when they cross mine, it's very hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's really, really interesting when setting boundaries. We're going to kind of give you a layout to make it as easy as possible.
Oh, Luann, right? Setting them is easy, but keeping them.
Very good point,
that
my
is
friend.
A really,
really good point.
Alex, upsetting others is the hard part. Oh, Laura. Hi, Laura. No, we can't tell it's you. Sometimes it won't. It'll just say Facebook user, but now we know that Facebook
Hi, Laura.
User is Laura.
Okay, so let's talk more about boundaries. What does life look like when there are no boundaries?
Well,
go ahead and answer, and why don't you share?
Okay, what life looks like is you're running yourself ragged. You're probably pretty exhausted. You're doing everything you can think of you need to do for everyone else to keep them happy and comfortable without really knowing for sure. You feel resentful because you feel like everyone's walking all over you, but are you speaking up and asking for what you want and need? Probably not, because you're not setting boundaries. You feel pissed as shit. You're angry at the world. You feel like everyone is totally disrespectful to you. And that's the life of someone that's not setting any boundaries.
Okay, so I'm going to put it in little bullet points for you.
Drained and full of resentment.
Totally.
You feel crazy, total chaos and hurt feelings.
Totally.
Stressful and always tired.
Yeah.
Like a hurricane.
Yep.
Like hell.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. So this is where it will leave you feeling depleted, taken advantage of, taken for granted, intruded upon, used. Okay. It leads to the experience of burnout, resentment, hurt, like Kelly said, hurt feelings, and anger. That sounds like a sucky experience in life, right? And there's no way around it, guys. None. If you do not set boundaries, you're going to be depleted, taken advantage of, taken for granted, intruded upon, used, anger, burnout, resentment, hurt feelings. Like, those are not super comfy feelings. I think I'd rather have a little discomfort setting a boundary than feeling all of this all of the time. How about you guys?
Oh,
How about you?
You feel like you love them more than they love you.
Yep.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah. You were asking me if that's how I feel.
No, I was asking you, wouldn't you rather set a boundary and be uncomfortable with that for a second
Than a lifetime of hell?
All this.
Yeah.
Then this is really what happens, guys. Like, there really is no way around it. So that's why we're talking about this today. Boundaries create trust and build healthy relationships.
All the way.
That's what they do.
Yep. All the way.
So why wouldn't we want to do it? Well, there's some reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Reasons that we don't want to do it. Why don't we want to set boundaries? There's two main reasons that we've come across in our practice with working with empaths for years and years. And number one is what, was it Audrey?
That said in the thread?
Yeah. Somebody said, you're afraid you're going to hurt someone's feelings. And that is probably number one. And the reason we're afraid to hurt someone's feelings is because what will happen if we hurt their feelings? They'll get upset or get mad and reject us, right? That's our biggest fear, is that we will be rejected by the people that we love if we set boundaries with them, because they're probably used to us doing things their way, because we're like, okay, I'll just give in.
That's exactly what Feruza said. It's really hard if they're not used to me being different or setting
Absolutely.
those
It will
boundaries.
be an adjustment.
Yeah, it's super uncomfortable at first. And that's the part we're going to really keep talking about in this call to support you. So you can do this.
Okay. So do you want to share anything about setting boundaries?
Yeah, I have a lot of opportunities to set my own personal boundaries. Ever since I transitioned, I'm a trans man. That simply means I was born into a girl's body as a boy. That's all that means for me. I'm a trans man. I was born, I've always felt like a boy, didn't understand what it all meant and what it looks like. But I transitioned. I made my transition, changed my name legally, changed my gender legally. And that happened it'll be 7 years in this year, in June. And I have a lot of opportunity to set my boundaries. And every time I do, I can feel the discomfort of the person that I'm speaking up to. The biggest one that I have to deal with pretty much every day that I'm on the phone with somebody for business, or, somebody that doesn't know anything about me, they always call me ma'am, because my voice may sound higher. It is so much lower than it was before I transitioned.
It really
I did have the highest voice. And so now it's really quite low for me. And yet I get misgendered all the time. There are a few times I let it go. Most of the time I'll speak up and say, it's sir. And every time I can feel their discomfort. They don't want to say it wrong, not in those situations. And then the other side of that makes that I'm constantly having to set my boundary is with using my name and my correct pronouns, most especially with people that have known me for a long, long time, because I didn't transition to the true gender that I am until I was, how old was I, babe? 46, 47.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I lived a long time being called a different name. So for me, it's totally natural to be Jack and he, him, and the pronouns. But the people that have the hardest time are the people that have used my name the longest amount of time.
Family.
And when I get very clear, there's only one person on the planet that I give a pass to, and it is my 90-year-old mother, in using my birth given name and gender. Everyone else, for them to be in a relationship, a deep relationship with me, I'm asking that they use my correct name and pronouns. Now, do I expect them to be perfect? No. Do I expect them to try and to be willing to be uncomfortable? Yes. I do. I really do.
Fair.
And I know that it's uncomfortable. I can feel their discomfort, and I'm totally happy to have the conversation and to for them to say, it's just, I'm really having a hard time, but I'm going to try, I'm going to do my best. I'm like, great. Thank you. That's great. And then over time, if it doesn't change and it keeps going, then I have to reaffirm that boundary. Say, I really need you to use my correct name. And then there are some people that opt out. And I am very, very clear. And I will say, I want to be in a deeper connective relationship with you. And for me to show up in an aligned way, I'm asking you to use my correct name and pronouns. If you're willing to do that, we can do this. Like, it's great. Do I expect you to understand what it means to be a trans man? No. But I do expect you to try and to actually use my correct name.
Mm-hmm. And everyone is going to have their boundaries with their specific things. Okay.
Everyone is. I mean, this is just my bubble. This is my world. But every single one of you have things in your life right now that you need to be very clear on what works for you and what doesn't, and bringing that to the table. And that's what we're going to help you do today.
Yeah. So being afraid of hurting someone's feelings is a very, very common thing, especially for empaths. We do not want to be rejected. And we don't, because we feel other people's feelings, we don't want to feel their discomfort in our body. So a lot of times we will opt out of our own need or desire and self-defeat so that they feel comfy. And after time, this is when we start going into the depleted and the resentful and the angry.
Right. I mean,
and it's our fault. It's our own
It is
fault.
us. We are the one at choice. We're the one choosing to be there. That's why when I show up in a relationship that's a long-standing relationship and ask them to use my proper name, otherwise I won't show up. Otherwise, I would quietly slip out the side door and never be there because it doesn't feel good to me. So when I show up and ask somebody that's a long-standing, long-time family member or friend and directly ask them, basically what I'm saying is, I love you and this relationship enough for me to have this uncomfortable conversation for me and for you, asking you to use my name. And really, it's a sign of respect. It's a sign of respect when you actually set a boundary. You're respecting that person, that relationship enough to be honest. And that means you're bringing all of you to that relationship rather than feeling pissed underneath with a smile on your face because they aren't respecting your time or your energy or your feelings. But if you're not respecting your time, your energy, your feelings by saying, no, I can't do that tonight. Thank you for asking, but I just, I need to take some downtime. That's you being honest. Then you don't have to hide. You can actually be front center.
I wish I could say, okay, here's the answer to make everything really easy and comfortable. But life is not easy and comfortable.
No.
And an empowered life is not easy and comfortable all the time. The results of an empowered life are just amazing. But there's some really uncomfortable situations that we have to allow ourselves to walk through as we are doing it. And setting boundaries is one of those things. The other reason people don't want to set boundaries is because they believe it's their job to put themselves second and sacrifice their own well-being for the benefit of another. And I'm telling you right now, this is an empathic conditioning, okay, for many empaths. This means you're living in codependency and it will ruin your life.
It will.
Okay. If you believe that you are here to heal others by putting yourself aside, you are in a serious delusion. And it's not because you're delusional. It's because you've probably been conditioned that you'll find your greatest happiness by serving everyone else and forgetting about yourself. And I'm telling you right now, this will end you up in bed and you will have breakdowns and energy drain and your nervous system will go kaput after doing this for 40 years. And so it's time for us to start talking about how to set boundaries in a really healthy way. And the very first thing that you have to do is put yourself first. And this is going to push some of you.
Let's really talk about this.
Because we sometimes we even get our identity with like, nope, I don't put myself first. I put everyone else first because I'm a good person that's here to help. This is not going to work. That will never work for you. You will end up miserable as hell because you're not taking care of yourself. Even when you get on an airplane, they're like, if something happens and you need oxygen, make sure even before your children, you put oxygen on first, or you won't be able to help them. And this is what I'm telling you. Either you put your oxygen on first, or you will never be able to help anyone. Okay? This is absolutely critical. You must put yourself first.
And we have a couple of very real comments here that we need to speak to. Kelly said when she had a really codependent relationship with her mom and needing boundaries, it was unhealthy, and that it looks like she may have committed suicide, and I feel like I failed her. At the end of the day, fully and completely, as devastating at the emotional state of dealing with all of that is, each individual is responsible solely for their choice. It is not because of you. It's not because of someone else. Whatever they choose is their choice in that place. And for you, Kelly, to be working on finding your footing and really tending to that self that you are, and setting boundaries, having lived through something like that.
Yeah, Kelly, that's intense.
That is so intense.
Like, that's an intense thing that you're like, I had to let go to take care of my child, and then my mom committed suicide. That could really set you up for feeling like, if I don't give everything I have to the people around me, they'll die or they'll commit suicide. So I have to do this. You could really feel trapped. And what I want to tell you, and I'm not being cavalier about your mother, because that is a horrible choice that she made to do that. I'm sure it's been very hard on your family. But you have to remember, everybody is responsible for their own choices. We as empaths oftentimes feel responsible for other people because we can feel other people's feelings. But the truth is that our job is to really learn how to manage our nervous system, do self-care, and to observe and come from a place of compassion instead of absorbing other people's feelings. Yes, we can sense other people's feelings, but we don't need to bring them in and experience them as our own. And that's why we, Tiff and Jack, are always teaching, so that we can help you get empowered as an empath, so that you can be that unstoppable empath that lives that empowered life. So you're not taking responsibility and accountability for other people's feelings. It's not your job. And you will get so depleted that you'll get to the point, and I know many of you know what I'm talking about, is you will absolutely end up completely depleted and your nervous system shot. And that's typically when people find us and we're like, okay, let's start to recover. Right?
Okay, we need to speak to this too. Jennifer said, I'm trying to help my mom mourn the death of my dad and not having time to mourn myself, and I'm angry.
I bet.
Such a fine line that I am not sure how to navigate it. So what would you say?
You know, Jen, I understand this because I know that we've talked a little, and I know it was an unexpected death. And so there's a lot of trauma and shock involved with all of this. And, you know, you are such a loving, helping, compassionate person. And I think you probably haven't had enough time to mourn a lot of things in your lifetime because you've been such an incredible, compassionate, caretaking person. And I would say that at this point, it's really important for you to have some alone time every day. And if mom feels uncomfortable with that, it's okay. But it's really going to come down to you really valuing yourself and saying, I've got to have some downtime, whether you can go for a walk or a drive or something, start writing, some of how you feel, because, you know, you're going to have to mourn this yourself. And I'm not even surprised that you're feeling that anger pool up, because you're not giving yourself the gift of processing.
Yeah.
And you will have to do it, because I know for a fact your mom's not going to give it to you. So you're going to have to take it. And I know you can do this, but it's probably going to be pretty uncomfortable.
Okay, thank you and this is really important. This is what we love about doing this live show, is that Tiff and I can get on. We can actually have this two-way dialogue with you and do some coaching and answer your questions. That's what this show is all about. So thank you for the comments. Candace said, my number one reason for not communicating my necessary boundaries is the fear of the fallout. that
Absolutely.
is of that, which is typically being responded to in a raised voice,
Yep.
anger, being ghosted, being targeted for anything and everything. This is my number one reason, based on years of experience of trying to communicate a boundary. And Candace, this is a new day. And this is where you get to create a scenario where you feel safe within your first and foremost, your personal area, right? And being very clear and going out now and then and buying yourself something nice, like you did the other day with your yummy latte or something that you hadn't had a coffee drink for a good while. And beginning to set those so you can get new muscle memory. You can build new strength in your mind of setting boundaries, and it will get stronger and easier. So it will push out all of the other.
And, I'm just going to address every person has a different risk level when setting a boundary. If you're living with a narcissist and you set a boundary, he very easily or she very easily could punch you in the face. And you really have to get really clear, and you have to say,
who you're with.
It's like, okay, how is it? You have to make a decision: punch in the face or self-defeat and miserable all the time. And these are the really hard decisions, because you're not going to be punched in the face permanently. If you make a clear boundary, you can leave. Like if you're in an abusive situation, you need to get out of there, and we'll tell you that all day long. But I am very accustomed to extremely difficult decisions. And people are like, well, I don't want to hear yelling, I don't want to hear anger, I don't want to hear this. And I'm like, what is it worth to you to stay in self-defeat? Because I can't stand that feeling of self-defeat. And I've made some very risky and very scary decisions so that I could live an empowered life. And they all turned out better, but they were very uncomfortable and very scary. So you may be afraid that they're of the fallout. Most people are. And sometimes the fallout looks much riskier than other people, and you still have to set boundaries anyway. And it may sound like I'm callous or I'm a hard ass, but the truth is we are empowered beings, and we are the creators of our life. And we have all experienced abuse and situations where we've been treated poorly, and we're still here because we're on this call together. We're still here, we're still breathing, and we're still making decisions. And boundaries are critical to an empowered life. And that means making decisions even if someone's going to reject you or say something mean, or perhaps even like push you down. It's okay. Your boundary gives you power. Every time you set a boundary, you get more power, momentum in your power, your empowered self. And you'll get stronger and stronger and stronger until you're in the place that you actually desire to be.
And Alex said it absolutely will ruin your life, not setting boundaries. And it has ruined mine. I do none of the things that used to make me happy, and I'm a completely different person because of it. It has actually caused me to try to control the people I'm with to make things easier on myself. I have done this to myself, and I need to change that by setting boundaries on what I need, even if that means people don't accept me for who I am.
That's a really powerful share, Alex. Good job for seeing that. And I'm really impressed with your ability to take accountability that you created this for yourself. We don't know we're creating this. We don't, when we're doing it until we like, oh, I guess I've done this to myself. Then you can make a change. And it's never comfortable to see where we've hurt ourselves. It never feels comfortable. But once we get there, it's like just one little step at a time. And that's why we're talking about these little steps and they're big steps, but they're little in comparison to living a life without boundaries, is putting yourself first. And how you do that is you have to figure out what you want in life. And a lot of people don't want to look at what they want, because it's like, what if I don't get it? Or what if it upsets someone else and they don't want the same thing? It's okay. You have to take a look at what you want, and you have to make the decision about it. Whether you get it or not, you have to do this, because once you are clear on what you want, then you can be clear on what you will do and what you will not do. And that's the next step. So,
and we need to speak to this. So Sonia said, so am I getting this right? Are you saying we need to say no more often? If so, that's so hard to do.
Yeah, that's my very last step, is the art of saying no. And we will be getting to that shortly.
And like Tiff just said, it's about you identifying what you want and need for you first, right? You have to really know what you want. And then within that, as you know what you want or what you don't want, then there may be a place where you really do need to say no because it's something that you don't want. So this is how it goes. Is we aren't just saying go say no to everything and anyone. No. First get clear on what you will and won't do, what you want and what you don't want. And then you'll see clearly where the no needs to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. I've got to get the charger, so keep going.
Okay. So once you know what you want, and then you get to decide what you will and will not do, this is a really empowered place to be. Okay. And once you're there, then you get to learn the fine art of saying no. And I want to make the saying no part as easy as possible. Sonia, you're like, that is really hard to do. So depending on the situation, saying no, one of the ways that I found that's the easiest, because as empaths, we don't want to be abrupt or make someone feel like we're like being rude. So Jack says no different than I do. When I need to do something for myself and I really can't do something for someone else and I need to say no, I will typically say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I have an appointment, or I have plans, because I do. I have plans with myself and my self-care, or I have made an agreement with someone else to do something with them or whatever. I really stick to that. And I will never do something that I don't feel like I can do just for the benefit of another person, unless it's my kids. And then it's like, sometimes I interrupt what I'm doing so that I can help them if there's an emergency, but that doesn't happen very often. And so, yes, just saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I have plans, or I have an appointment. And that way you're not lying. Now, Jack, what do you say?
What I would say is like, oh, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me.
I know. And I'm like, I can't. I can say that to Jack, but I can't say that to other people because it feels a little too abrupt and harsh. And I can always feel that. And then I'm like, I'm sorry. I try to be very diplomatic and gentle. And it doesn't mean Jack's not diplomatic or gentle. His delivery is great. But there's an easier way, especially if you're not used to saying no. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I have plans. Or, oh, I'm so sorry, I have an appointment. And then you're staying true to yourself because you have an appointment or plans with you. Okay.
Okay. I want to speak to this really quick.
Wait, there was up here. I'm not sure who it was. Oh, this right here.
Weird you said punch in the face. My ex punched my mom in the face when she stood between us. Hard stuff.
Yeah.
Which goes right along with Feruza. I grew up with an angry father and saw my mother getting punched, and it's been hard. Absolutely. Yes. This is part of all of our worlds, right? We have abuse on other people in front of us, abuse on us, all these things that make us feel like we can't. And this is where we get to show ourselves some grace. Always get yourself into a safe place first and foremost. If it's you and you're suffering abuse, get on a hotline, reach out, start getting help so that you have support to move yourself out of an abusive situation.
Yeah.
First and foremost, always and forever. And then show yourself grace. If you're not in an active abusive situation, but you're reacting to that past that you've witnessed, that you've experienced as part of your cells, your cell memory, that's where you show yourself some grace and baby step your way into setting boundaries. You just have to start with the little, even if you're just setting a boundary with yourself and that you're committing to yourself that you're going to take some self-care time today. That's setting a personal boundary with yourself.
I liked how you said, find places of support that can help remove you from the situation that's physically hurting you. Sometimes we make very conscious decisions to absolutely give in so we don't get hurt physically. And that's fair. But that means if you're in that situation, you have got to get out of it. And I know it's easier said than done. Believe me, I've been in abusive relationships. You have to make clear decisions, and there is support, and the universe is here to support you, to help you find a door out of that so that you can get to a place where you won't have to set a boundary and get your face punched in.
Yeah.
Because listen, you guys, if you're in a relationship where you're being physically abused or assaulted or even screamed at to that point, that's not a place where you can thrive. You can't, the vibration there is not a thriving place. So you need to remove yourself. And however you do that is up to you. There's lots of support and lots of avenues out there for you if you believe that you can find them. Sometimes we feel so downtrodden by all the abuse that we're like, I'm never going to get out of this. And then we just stay. But we're here to remind you, you're here to live as an empowered
You are.
empath. And many of us have had experiences with nasty ass narcissists that try to physically control us or emotionally control us. And they don't get to do that. We can leave. We just have to trust the universe and find like-minded people and supportive places that will help us remove ourselves from that so we can start rebuilding and
Yep.
recovering and setting clear boundaries.
Yes, everything is figure outable. No matter where you are, everything is figure outable. And it starts with you and your relationship with you. And you respecting yourself, your feelings, your thoughts, your identity, who you are, how you want to be, you respecting you. And then start setting those boundaries. And it's challenging to set boundaries. It's challenging to say no. It's challenging to feel the energy of someone else's disappointment or letdown or whatever that is. And it takes a lot of strength. But when we stand in that challenging place of setting that boundary, we're gaining strength. We're standing for ourselves. We're having our back. We're respecting our feelings and our desires and our identity. And as we do that, we get stronger and we energetically attract more good to us instead of more shit to us. And that's the beauty of you respecting you enough to say no. If you need to say no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. Thank you for asking. And then just,
If you are in a dangerous situation, there's a way out for you.
there is.
And asking the universe to assist you and help you see that and help you find that way, because no one is meant to be in relationships where they're being abused. We choose to stay there, or we choose not to believe that there's any hope for us, and then we stay, and then we just lose ourselves more and more and more until sometimes people don't last through this life because of it. And then you have those people that are in abusive situations that are like, I have finally had enough. Whether I get punched in the face or not, I'm setting a boundary and I'm getting out. And they do it. So there's a way. And I don't know what your way is. I wish I could say this is the avenue for you to get out of these relationships and to feel happy and joyful and create an abundant life. I can give you tools, but you'll have to make the decisions of how you're going to utilize those.
And I would say that actually always will start with you recognizing what you want. That's where all of this starts. And that's all about you and you. Nobody can decide that for you. No one can take it away from you either, what you want. It's you making the decision. And it opens the energy doors. It opens up that law of attraction to bring more respect and goodness and answers and abundance to you, because you're putting that energy forward by being clear. It's like, I want more. What this isn't working for me. And then having those conversations. And, if the relationship is a struggle, but it's something you really want to have work, then in that relationship, starting to set those healthy boundaries is the way you will get clarity really, really quick if it's going to be a long-term working relationship or not. And it would be better to know sooner than later. And that's what you just starting the journey of saying, no, that doesn't work for me, or this is what I can do, just this. And if that works for you, great. And if not, so be it.
And one of the most profound things I heard someone say is the only person that can teach someone how to treat you is you. Because if you value yourself enough and you love yourself enough to set boundaries, you're actually treating other people how to respect you. Because people don't just innately, naturally respect other people. You will respond to the people around you and vice versa with how you treat yourself or how they treat themselves. If you present yourself as a doormat, people will walk on you because you're throwing yourself on the ground.
Yep.
Okay, so your job is to love yourself and value yourself enough to set boundaries. And then you'll be teaching people how to respect those boundaries, and your relationships will thrive.
I want to read what Leona said because it is a profound reminder of the truth. She said, "That was me 25 years ago. I suffered mental abuse from my ex. He would belittle me in public. I'm now in a loving relationship with a wonderful man. He's my rock when I feel down. He's always there for me." There you go.
Awesome. Good
There's
job.
a point
Leona.
of reference for someone that's not
there's
there.
hope.
There's hope. There is hope. Fruza said, "I got a divorce not because of violence, but because he was just not understanding and never responded to me when I talked about myself and things that were wrong. Fair.
Good.
Because it didn't work for you.
It wasn't a match.
Right? Good. Good.
Oh,
Oh
you
my
guys,
God.
this was a really great conversation. And I would like to just thank you all so much. All of you that participate and share your stories. I can't tell you how powerful it is for other people to read and to experience you in this show, because it helps others feel heard, understood. You feel like there's familiarity. It's like, oh, there's like-minded people here. And there's also new ideas and hope and energy from other people in their own successes and overcoming. So this is just really powerful. So anytime you share, it's just such a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. And Audrey, yes, the replays all live in the Connected Empath Facebook group in the guides section. You will catch all the replays will be there for all the live shows we've ever done. So go to the Connected Empath. We love you. Thank you for being here. If you have not registered for Unstoppable Empath Lab that starts on February 7th, now is the day and the time to do it. Save your spot. It's free. It's a 5-day workshop. You're going to see us in front of you for 5 days, an hour a day. We will have replays available on all of those recorded days, so you can watch the replay if it happens while you're at work, but get registered. That way we can give you all the information that you need. And we also connect you with an empath mentor through the workshop to support you through it, to guide you and make sure you have access to everything that we're offering.
And you get your workbook.
You get your workbook. Yes, I did. So the way you register, someone type it in the thread. There it is. Thanks, Victoria. empathrising.com.
Yep.
That's where you register. Empath Rising, because we're all about you rising. empathrising.com. Go register. It'll be a fabulous 5 days together. We love you. Have a beautiful day, everybody.